Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. We say the things that no one dare say. You know, that's why you've tuned in. Today, I'm joined by Ken, the hardcore's hardcore from Belfast in Northern Ireland. How are you doing, Ken?
Good morning, Russell.
You all right?
Yep, all good.
Cold morning this morning, isn't it?
Yeah, morning. It's cold. I'm looking forward to a show. Not for the boxing snowflakes.
Yeah,
definitely not.
I've started drinking Yorkshire tea decaf, and I think it's changed my life and my sleeping system at the moment. Yeah, a bit of honey in it.
You've cut down the caffeine, have you, Russell?
Yeah, I've stopped drinking coffee, and I'm drinking. Obviously, I drink hot chocolate in day sometimes, but I'm drinking Yorkshire tea, which is called Yorkshire tea decaf. A bit of semi-skimmed milk and a bit of hard honey, no milk honey in it, and I seem to be sleeping better. But I'm drinking water at night instead of hot chocolate. You know, like hot water.
Yeah.
Bunny, my pal Bunny Johnson told me to drink that because he were based in China for years, and obviously he's into his bodybuilding and that. And he said a lot of Chinese do it and they sleep like a baby, and I'm just sleeping really good. So I'm impressed. Cheers, Bunny.
I'll have to get myself some Yorkshire tea then.
Yorkshire tea for Yorkshiremen. Right. I don't really know where to start, really. I'm not going to do Dennis's show with you because I'm going to do that myself, right? But I am going to have a little chat with you at some point of it, but I'm going to do an in-depth breakdown of it. Got all the statistics here, Dennis. You're going to love it. But we've got some things to go through. I've done a little bit of a script on Ben Davidson. I've jotted a few things down. There's plenty to go at. So boxing hardcore's in for a right treat today. You know, I've had a quiet weekend, very quiet. I'm starting doing a bit of training again now, so it's all good, isn't it? So I'm in a good place. Right, Ken, I want to speak about Ben Davidson first. Boxer size. Benny Boy, that's his name. Right. His guy the other night, as you know, Ben divides opinion, doesn't he, amongst boxing fans? But his guy Lee McGregor other night, MTK fighter, fought on an MTK card. I had him losing by 2-3 rounds. They gave it a draw. How did you have it, Ken?
I had it the same. I had him losing by 2 rounds.
Yeah. So do you think Lee McGregor got a hometown decision?
Yes, he did. He did. It was on a hometown show, but it wasn't like he got a win. He got a draw.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the worst. It wasn't exactly the Brinks-Mat robbery.
No.
It was a. He didn't win the fight, but he got a draw. His last fight, he was dropped heavily. So where do you think Lee McGregor's going now?
I think he's heading for Skid Row if he stays with boxer size Benny Boy, because there were nothing coming from the corner to him. They were leaning back on the ropes, waiting for the decision. Boxer size Benny Boy and his mate, Bacon Butty Barry, pair of them triple Bs, aren't they? They were leaning back on them ropes like they were waiting for a bus.
Yeah, it kind of seems to me that they took for granted the opposition. They took for granted the fact that it was an MTK show, and you're right. Just because it's an MTK show doesn't mean you're going to turn up and get a win, even though they're hometown fighters. You've seen that last fight, Isaac Lowe, Isaac gets smashed up.
Yeah,
it wasn't exactly an easy fight to put him in. But it just seems to me Ben seems to take everything for granted at the minute. He's only been in boxing 5 minutes.
Yeah. Sometimes, right, and this is not a criticism. Sometimes it's like, I can explain it. When I was a kid, my dad had a Capri, like one of them out professionals, with S-stripe down the side of it. And I nicked it when I was 15. And took it for a blast and nearly binned it. It was too much for me, because I'd never really. All I'd ever done is go up and down on drive. First chance I got, I went out in it, and I couldn't drive it. I was all over the road. I had to go really steady just to get it back to where it were. Now it's like getting at keys to a 17-year-old to a fast car. They're going to bump it. I bumped my first car, and I think he's been thrown in at deep end. Talks a good game, doesn't he? But he's found wanting. Look, Tyson left him. Billy Joe left him a few times. Yeah. There's a rumour going around that all's not rosy with Josh Taylor. If Josh Taylor leaves him, he's got egg on his face then, hasn't he? Now, that other kid got beat by Jack Bates and Ben with his trainer. He's just been beat, but they give it as a draw. He got an hometown this MTK show, MTK fighter got a draw. It means he lost, doesn't it? We know that. Everybody in the boxing industry knows that. He's got a long way to go, but we're not saying he ain't going to be a good trainer. But don't be telling us you're this, you're that, you're blah, 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 and then coming out and a performance like that, because in my opinion, I thought it were poor from them. I mean, I thought McGregor was British Commonwealth, European champion, he's going to fight for a world title and all that. He's way off a world title, Ken. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. And you go back and you look at it, and you look at how many fighters he's got, how many fighters he's recruited this last year. I think he's a good trainer. I'm not saying he's not, but I think Russell, there's just too many people in that in that stable to give time. You know, we've got the Mick Cullen fight and Lee Wood coming up next week. You touched on that Josh Taylor fight coming up. Do you really think if you've got a stable that size, everyone is getting the right amount of time?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
And it just goes to show, you know, when you've got that big stable, you know, you're constantly recruiting fighters. Yes, he wants them in. He's getting this 10, 12% or whatever it is. I don't know. But it just goes to show it's more about how many fighters he's getting in than actually having his core team of fighters and spending time on them and developing them. I think Lee McGregor has regressed from probably. I do, Russell. I think I look at the last year or so, I definitely think he's regressed.
Okay. Do you feel that we're seeing more of Ben Davison in interviews than we're seeing of his fighters?
Absolutely. I don't think I've ever heard a Lee McGregor interview.
Or a Josh Taylor one?
We know Josh Taylor. He's his own man, but I just think he's spending too much time doing these Sunday sermons, these analysts on BT. I think you should be just spending the time with your fighters, Russell.
Yeah. What did you think to Malcolm X's scorecard, Spencer Fearon ringside, 98-92 McGregor? What planet is he on?
This is the guy that turned around and said that Isaac Lowe, after his last performance, could go and fight for a world title after it and would win one. So I don't know what he was watching. Did he get the names mixed up or something like that? I don't know what he was watching.
Spencer
but he's
Fearon.
an MT.
One, sorry.
He's an MTK commentator, you know, so he's going to say that. He's going to say that, but I'd actually, if he's the knowledge, I don't know what fight he was watching.
Spencer Fearon, get yourself to Specsavers. They've got a sale on Oakley's. Get yourself to Specsavers, lad. And come on, Spencer. Pick up the phone when you get to 154, Spencer. I'll come see you. All right, 154. You'll love that, Spencer, because nobody else gives him a look, do they? Actually, he's not bad at breaking fights down, actually, but in my opinion, he's too biased. Now, 98-92, I don't want to hear all this. Well, I'm looking at it from a different angle to you, and I'm there ringside. No. Lee McGregor did not win that 98-92. The judges gave it a draw. No one had him winning the fight. No one had him drawing it, only them judges. Ben Davidson had him winning it and Spencer Fearon, because they are MTK men, aren't they? All right. Okay. Josh Taylor, do you believe that Maxie Hughes knocked him about in sparring? Because that's the rumour doing the rounds. He gave him a black eye. And more than held his own. What do you think about that? Is Josh Taylor on the slide? Has he gone stale?
Maxie Hughes is a really good fighter. Also, you've seen the
No.
resurgence of him this last 2 years. He's changed camp. He's in with Josh Taylor or Josh Warrington. He's in that camp. He's getting a lot of good sparring. He's getting a bit more time. It's a small camp in there, so he's going to get more one-to-one time. So he's going to develop and evolve as a fighter. He's an IBO champion.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't know sparring stories, Russell. Sparring stories and boxing's been going on from time began. Unless you've been actually there, you can't really say yes or no or hey or they. But listen, it's sparring, the best fighters in the world.
Yeah.
There's either championship level fighters that probably aren't good spars. Some probably are good spars.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. But if he had a bad day, one bad day, what about the 6 good days that he had? So yeah, I don't really buy too much into that.
Yeah. Do you feel that with these pundits moving forward, Kent, that we're going to have something a bit like Micah Richards, Roy Keane, Graham Souness, Carragher, people like that, Neville, people who are not afraid to tell it as it is, because all we've got at the moment, in my opinion, is people trying to paper over cracks and put PR statements out for the mates in the sport of boxing or their employers, instead of just telling it as it is. Do you think that these punters are misleading fans? Like your Johnny Nelsons, Darren Barkers, Matthew Macklin, Spencer Behrens, them sort of people. Do you think they're misleading the fans?
Absolutely. They're misleading that casual audience that's going to tune in. It's not like they're misleading our type of support, our type of fans. But yeah, definitely are. They just need to be honest. Like the amount of times years back watching Sky, watching Glenn McCrory, Ian Darr commentating, the amount of times that someone turned up with a WBF title or a WBU title, they would have said, listen, this is a spurious title here. This is the real world title fight. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to if the promoters are trying to con the public, the broadcaster's going to be trying to con the public as well. We just need to have a wee bit more less bias and be a wee bit more what can I say? There's too much. Either they're sitting on the fence too much or they're too biased. We need something bang in the middle. You need to get everybody's mate at the minute in boxing. We need to kind of have that panel that don't agree, or maybe from different camps or different parts of the country, or even fighters that maybe have fought each other. We know they're not going to agree on, like, say, even like Frotch and Groves commentating the gala would be great, because it's not exactly they're going to sit and agree with each other everything to say.
George Groves is not bad exactly as a pundit, in my opinion. I think he's not afraid to say what he thinks. In my opinion, I don't know. What do you think?
I like him. He had an interview last week, and he looked like he had a few extra drinks, and he was brilliant. He's always honest. He always says it like it is. That's what boxing needs at the minute. It's become too snowflake, too commercial.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel that, just wrapping up on this bit here, do you feel that YouTubers are frightened to ask the main questions, except maybe Umar? Do you think Umar's starting to get very brave in his young age at the moment?
Umar's the best at the minute.
He's the number one at the moment, isn't he?
He is. I look forward to see Umar. Did you watch him with Eddie last week?
I seen Eddie being a little bit harsh. Eddie was trying to belittle him a little bit, I felt.
I think he's doing a great job. I think he's went up levels as a interviewer. I think he delivers the best interviews of any of the platforms, and he even grills Warren at times. But you can see he's got that respect for Frank Warren as an elder, and I don't think he's afraid of him. I just think he's got a wee bit of respect for him because he's that bit older. But yeah, I think Omar's head and shoulders above all these guys at the minute.
Yeah. Okay. Quick one about a tweet that I seen last week. Had a few emails regarding it. People are sending me a lot of screenshots. We've got Steffi Bull and Enzo Macaronelli putting tweets out, telling people about when they were going to gay bars in Miami or something with Jamie McDonald and Carl Zagging. I ain't got nothing about any whatever sex anybody wants to go to bed with, that's up to them. But I don't think that's a good image for boxing, that boxers coming out saying, oh, I went in a gay bar and we got chatted up and all this nonsense. And I don't, what's your take on that? Do you think they're just doing it because they like to put themselves out there, or do you think that they're doing it because they just want to put out? I don't know. It didn't sit well with me, that. I think it's, I don't know. What do you think, Ken?
So what? So what? Who cares? You know, it's like,
yeah.
That's what's wrong with boxing at the minute. Everybody is trying, and boxing is trying to do everything they can to make everything about themselves in every situation. Who cares? Who cares? What difference does that make, even putting something out like that? It is completely irrelevant.
You're just going to make yourself look foolish, aren't you?
Yeah, why don't you just go on TV and say, why is this fight not being made? He's crap. He hasn't won a European title. This and that. Talk about proper topics. Ask proper boxing topics, not any of that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Max won his fight. He went out there. Obviously, he arranged for two lads to go out there with him. I think Max paid for the flights and everything. They didn't go out there, corner man, cut man. So he went on his own and did the kid in one round. We have to give Max some respect, don't we, really, for going out there on his Todd, another country. He ended up with 500 quid hard at job. So after expenses, he broke even. But I don't think it was about the money for Max, because he's not short of a few quid. I think it was about the fact that he wanted to do it, and he's a pretty determined individual, you know, for a 33-year-old. So I give him respect. What do you think, Ken?
Fair play to him. He went out on his own. He went out. I remember him talking one time before about turning pro, and I thought he was having a joke, but he has. Fair play to him. He's did it. Is he going to fight again, Russell?
Yeah, he's going to fight. He's been offered another fight out there. But I've spoke. I'm not going to say who. I'll tell you after. But I've spoken to a promoter from the UK who's looking to get him on this year. But I think he's probably going to have a chat with Julian McGowan, who were advising him going up into ring, because obviously Julian wanted to go out there, but it was too late once Max got let down, because you have to go for PCR tests and stuff like that. So I said, well, we'll come out. Max went, no, it's all under control. Well, he obviously got let down, didn't he? But so I think he's going to have a sit down with Julian, and they're going to have a chat at where he's at. And obviously he's going to have to work on his fitness, and there's all sorts of issues and that. But if he can do something he enjoys, I ain't got a problem with that. But the flip side of the coin is, people are going to say, this is what's wrong with boxing, when someone like Max can go and get a license from another country and then just have a pro boxer and not be in shape and that. I can see that argument, but he wants to do it. So good luck to him, but he ain't going to win a belt. He knows that. But boxing's always going to need these type of people, these like journeymen, aren't they? And you know, stuff like that. Because Max will end up a journeyman. We know that, don't we? But I wish him well. And if he can build the record up 3 or 4 an hour, so I don't know, it could happen, couldn't it?
it's yeah.
Capable of all. Max is capable of anything.
It's as long as he's got a good man in Julian advising him and talking to him and mentoring him, which is great. And as long as he's matched at his level, he'll be fine. That's the only advice I could give him, is get matched at his level, just keep listening to Julian, and he'll be fine.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Dean White put a show on. Did you know that? His second show at weekend. No, well, I had a look at it. Look, it's his second show, all opponents, all had losing records. Look, that's just the way boxing is going now. It's not going to keep bleating on about it. The quality's not there, is it? Right. So he's saying he's a promoter, Black Box Promotions, yeah? We all agree that, don't we? On BoxRec, if you go and look, the promoter for the show that Dean White says is his show, the promoter is Anthony Opara Ocha. That's Oparaocha. Anthony Oparaocha. It's on board. If you just click on John Harding Jr. BoxRec and then click on event, and you'll see it's Dean White. Dean White says it's his show, but his name is not on its promoter. So is that another alias of Dean White? I mean, he's a fucking man of mystery. He's like Austin Powers, isn't he?
Wesley Snipes, Dean White, you know,
Luther
he's saving people.
Shook Knight, or is it Shook White?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Dean White, whatever your name is, when you get your birth certificate, we'll glove up. All right, and we'll have a knock on car park. Till then, shut your fucking mouth. Fucking hellfire, man. Hey? He's like Eddie Murphy in them films, playing about 10 people in one film, isn't he? Acting out his fantasies. I'm going to ask your opinion on this, right? And a lot of people give me a bit of stick for mentioning this guy, but I've had a lot of emails from obviously Carl Froch fans saying, why is Terry sticking to Carl Froch? So I'm just going to ask you this. What do you think to Carl Froch's CV?
I think he's a brilliant resume. I think he's got a brilliant resume. He done a lot on the road, which a lot of fighters now don't do. He won world titles on the road. At the start, you know, I wasn't a massive Froch fan, but I respected what he did. I watched him in the class of 2001. I actually told you this. I sat with his family in Belfast and watched him in the World Amateur Championships.
That was Belfast 2001, but the class of 2002 it was when he turned pro.
Yeah, it was great boxing on BBC One. I've no problem with Clark Froch. Clark Froch is Clark Froch. He doesn't try and gloss over that. He's fought a lot of world champions. He's unified. You know, he arguably give Andre Ward one of the hardest fights of his career.
Let me just say this, right? Carl Froch beat Pascal, took his O. Pascal then went on to take Diacono's O and Chad Dawson pound for pound's O. So that's the company that Carl Froch were mixing in. He done Taylor, didn't he? Who beat Hopkins twice. 6 years after Froch did Taylor, Taylor was still a world champion.
Yeah.
See where I'm coming from? That's before you start taking George Groves' O and giving Arthur Abraham a boxing lesson, his first boxing lesson in another country. Do you know what I mean? So he did Glenn Johnson, who did Roy Jones. Who else did he do? Did Robin Reed, who in my opinion, did Calzaghe.
Yeah.
You know, we can go on forever, can't we? And years later, Robin Reed was still challenging for British titles after Froch beat him. So, you know, I think Terry, I don't know if he tries to troll me or wind me up, but what I'm going to do if Terry starts hammering the Cobra again, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get Cameron to edit it out because it's bordering on bullying now.
Yeah, you forgot he actually beat Brian McGee as well. He
beat Brian McGee when Calzaghe was swerving McGee, wasn't he, at one point?
Yeah, that I actually had tickets for that fight. Me and my mate were going to see that fight against Calzaghe.
Oh, okay, it didn't happen though, did it?
Ulster Hall. It was Ulster Hall, and it was pulled.
Yeah.
It was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and people were absolutely gutted. I think it was something to do with the WBO had refused the sanction. But why would they do that at the very, very last minute? Yes, he did. He knocked him out in the York Hall, but Robin had knocked out Brian McGee before that.
No, he didn't knock him out. He dropped him 4 times.
Yes, he did. He did. He dropped him 4 times at the Keen's Hall. It was at that fight, and it was with Robin the day of the weigh-in. I actually spoke to Robin recently about it.
Yeah,
but Froch's resume at the minute. If you look in boxing, you look in British boxing at the minute. Many boxers have got that resume that Froch had.
Not many.
from British.
Lennox Lewis, Calzaghe, Amir Khan. Who else was there? Tyson Fury. No, because for me, he still needs a few more wins.
You look at even Saturday night there. So at the minute, we've got John Ryder looking at that big Calano fight, for a world title. And you look down the record and he hasn't won a domestic title. He hasn't won a domestic title. You
know what amazes me is people go on about Andre Ward. Everybody in the Super 6 tournament knew that the winner had to fight Bute to be classed as the man. Everybody knew that. Now, Bute and Ward were in talks, but it never happened. He said that Bute needed to prove himself. Well, why did he? Bute had been champion years. When Froch fought him, he'd had 10 defences. Bute was the man. And look what happened there. He got put into orbit. So, Terry, stop with your trolling of the Cobra. It upsets me. Let's have a look here. What's your opinion on Ebony Bridges? I know she's with Mark Tibbs and that now, but look, I'm just going to give my opinion. But what's your opinion on Ebony Bridges?
I'm caught in the middle now, to be honest. I'm going to explain why.
Like that, what it can.
No, I think Russell, you have to give her respect. She's taken it a bit more serious. She's based herself over here now. She's working in an environment. She's in an environment that she has to listen. I think Mark even said something about her fitness was terrible when she came and he tested her and she came through it. So she's in that better boxing. I don't like all that shenanigans before weigh-ins and all that. I think it's becoming a bit like Dave Allen now. It's boring. It doesn't. It's like female Dave Allen. That type of thing. Well, with the whole before on the scales. I think that's boring now. I think that clickbait is done. But she's taking boxing a bit more serious. She's in that camp with Mark Tibbs and Jimmy Tibbs. You have to take your hat off to that.
Yeah, okay. Do you think that it makes boxing a little bit of a circus, though? When you
don't like it, I don't like it. I've said that before. I've said there that you take if she strips all that back and becomes looks a bit more serious. I'll be interested to see Russell in the next weigh-in. What happens? What way she gets on. It seems to be a precedent now with all that, but we'll see it the next weigh-in. Do you not respect her a bit more, going to Mark Tibbs, getting a bit more structured, a bit more serious about her career?
My opinion is that she's a gimmick, right? She's a gimmick, and I think that, and we'll come on to this other when we'll talk about it in a minute, but I think she's a gimmick, and I think eventually, as soon as she fights somebody who can fight, she'll get marmalised. That's what I think. I do, honestly. I got that word off my mate from Hull, Shane, but I think she gets marmalised like Marmalade Atkins when she steps up. We saw what Shannon Courtney did to her, punched her upside down, made her face look like a melon. And Shannon Courtney ain't no great shakes, is she really? She's been protected, hasn't she? She's already been beat a few times, so that's my opinion on it. But okie dokie. Johnny Fisher. Do you feel that Johnny Fisher is? Do you feel that they're trying to push this local lad, Romford, Bull, Bosch, whatever you want to call it, eats Chinese food and all this? Do you think they're forcing it too hard because he does a few tickets? Because it looked to me like he's very, very, very raw and he has got a long, long way to go, hasn't he? Yeah,
Russell, you could see it in his performance. You could see the nervous energy in his performance. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
He was chief support that fight. He was chief support. They keep on ramping it up now about how many tickets he's selling. He's probably one of the biggest ticket sellers in the UK at the minute. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on him, Russell, at the minute. You could see it in the performance.
What do you think to them quoting different things? His dad was saying 4,000 tickets. Eddie Hearn was saying 3. Frank Smith said 3.5, and Johnny Fisher said 2,000. Which do you think it is?
I actually heard 2,500 as well. Fuck me, I don't know. You'll not know that, but he is selling tickets, and you know, you look at where he was on the card. You know, if you're not selling tickets, you're not going to be there. And I think after his fight, the whole Ryder and Jacobs fight was silent. It was not. You know, Eddie was talking at the end about how great the crowd was and what the crowd were doing, and the crowd made John Ryder come back. I hardly heard that crowd for 10 rounds, and that goes to show you now the boxing demographics changing. You know, it's not that old boxing community now. It's completely changing, and you could see that after the Johnny Fisher fight, that they were just so disinterested and bored. Yeah. That's why the crowd was so quiet in the Ryder Jacobs fight.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on then from Johnny Fisher, we've got the DAZN show. So, the DAZN show. What do you think to the DAZN show, Ken?
Oh, so where do you want to start? Where do you want to start on it?
Well, let's see. Well, we'll start at the top, shall we? John Ryder. Did you think John Ryder won, yes or no?
No.
I agree with you, mate. I thought he got beat by easily 3 rounds. You couldn't even give it by 4, couldn't you? 116, 112. I don't know what to say about it, but when you scratch the surface, Marcus McDonald, the British judge, he gave it 115, 113. For the other guy, it were the 2 foreign judges that gave it for the Jacobs. So did somebody get to them, or were they treated that well all fight weekend at the weekend that they felt they had to go with Jacobs so that Eddie can get a rematch, or they could get Ryder in with Canelo, because Ryder Canelo's an easy fight, in it for Canelo, because it all looks like they're going to try and get Ryder the Canelo fight, doesn't it now? Canelo will take that for 40-odd million quid, won't he?
It was the French referee that did it. The French referee, I think it was his scorecard. He had Ryder winning a couple of the first 6 rounds. Now, I thought Jacobs comfortably won the first 6 rounds, and I think he won the last 2 rounds. So he did.
That's 8-4. That's what I had it, Ken. 116, 112, 8-4.
I've watched it twice. I watched it with no sound, and I watched it with sound. And
oh, Ken, did you have your gum shield in?
I just like to score it, and I had it the exact same way, and both times. I thought it was strange because Donnie Jacobs was controlling the fight really, really easily. The first 6 rounds with his jab. Round 7, I thought Ryder just kind of got a bit more pressure. I give him 3 rounds after that. But it seemed to me the commentary just completely flipped. I don't know how you feel about it, Russell, but I thought the commentary were sleeping the first 6 rounds. They were kind of just going with what was happening. And at some stages, you know, Jacobs was schooling him with a jab, and the commentary were kind of going too much with that. And then as soon as Ryder come forward, it was just as if you thought he was dropped about 4 times, the way the commentary changed. I thought, that's my opinion. It wasn't like it wasn't the biggest robbery I've ever seen. You know, I've seen John Ryder's had a couple of tight fights, but I don't think he won that fight, Russell.
No, John Ryder, look, I have watched Asylum. Yeah, I know Ozzie Smith's a big, massive John Ryder fan, and all them lads on there, and I haven't seen it yet. I will probably listen to it tonight, but What I will say is this: just because John Ryder has been jobbed in the past, it don't mean to say that this makes this right. Yes, it does even up and it swings and roundabouts, and we all like John Ryder, but there's no way he won that fight. But good luck to him because he's had bad luck, hasn't he, in the past. But if we remember, the same people that are being critical about this were saying that Crawler shouldn't have been given the decision in his last fight because it weren't right. Because Crawler didn't win his last fight, in our opinion, did he? Not saying that Crawler's not a nice guy and been great to British boxing like John Ryder. Crawler didn't win his last fight, but everybody gave him a pass like Matthew Macklin and them. But what about Daniel Jacobs? What about him? How's he going to feel? He's come over to London. Everybody knew that if he went to cards, he weren't going to get a look in, didn't they? So I don't know, mate.
You're right there. If Daniel, I seen how Daniel Jacobs, he walked off at the end in complete disgust, but he knew he was coming to London. He what was he going to expect?
It's the no Germany, isn't it?
Exactly. He's came to the new Germany. He was probably well paid for it, so he knew he was coming over as cannon fodder. What was he going to expect? I think. What did you think of Gabe Rosado's commentary? At the end of the fight, post-fight analyst. What did you think of Gabe's honesty?
I didn't think it was that good, mate. Did you?
I just liked his honesty. I just liked how honest he was, and
Yeah, he was honest, but I don't think he's going to be like an Ian Dark or a Duke McKenzie.
Definitely not. No,
but in his own way, he got the point across. Look, he's just been robbed because he was having a bit of back and forth with Crusher Ben, wasn't
he? Yeah, and to be honest, Daniel Jacobs was gifted a decision against Gabe Rosado as well. He was. So you're right what you're saying. It swings both ways.
What's the answer, Kent, to this judging and that? I mean, are they in promoters' pockets, or do they feel that they've got to give that promoter? Because when you're a judge, who's fighters with you and who the promoters making the A side and that. And do you feel that these people think, well, that promoter's going to want him to win, so I'm going to side with that person? Do you think a lot of that goes on? Because humans are creatures of habit, aren't we? We all look out for ourselves, don't we? Do you think that's happening?
It depends, I don't know the way it works now. Do the promoters put up the referees, judges, and hotels?
Yeah.
Do they pay their expense? Do they pay their expenses?
Yeah. It's all laid on.
How can that happen then?
It goes on, mate. It goes on. The promoter picks a tab up for everything: food and beverage, hotel, flights, the lot.
Surely that's a conflict of interest. Surely it should be like they get an allowance from the sanctioning body. They book their own hotel.
I remember a story that Robin Reed told me, and this is a true story. Brian Hughes, right, and Robin Reed went to have something to eat the night before they fought Spinotka, and they got into the hotel restaurant, wherever it were. All the officials, old man Willie Sauerland and his brat, old Tony Montana and his other brat brother, were all sat there, all tucking in to the Last Supper. That's a true story, mate. So what chance did Robin Reed have in that Spinotka fight?
No chance.
And Brian Hughes were like, wow. But it goes on. Don't mean to say that they're taking backhanders. They might all just be socialising. But would you get Jurgen Klopp socialising with FA or Premier League Referees Managers Association or whatever they are, them robotic Premier League referees? Would they all be sat there tucking in?
Definitely not. Definitely
not. That's what we're up against. But the answer for me is line them all up against the wall and get your Tommy gun out. That's what they need, mate. So moving on then, a win for Opie Price. He stays undefeated. He beat that Roman. Maybe Dave Caldwell might end up getting a pokey badge if Opie Price goes on to do something. because he's had him from debut, hasn't he? So the jury's still out on Colwell, but Opie Price looks like he might have some. What do you think?
He's probably the best super bantamweight now in the UK. He is absolutely brilliant. He's a good fighter. He's only 6-0 at the minute, so he's a long way to go before he goes into the championship. It's all right being a decorated amateur and being a top class amateur and getting in and fighting at that level. You know, you're actually probably fighting at a least level than you were as an amateur. So you can't really judge him yet. The only time you can judge a prospect at that, coming from that amateur background, is when they get the championship level, and that'll be the time when we can judge him. Yes, he looks good. He's beaten this opposition, but he's probably beat better opposition as an amateur. So I'm not going to get too carried away about him just yet. I think we need to see him in championship. I think he's ready now for a British title, Russell.
Yeah, okay. We'll just cover one more fight on Eddie's show because a lot of them were garbage. But Felix Cash against that Madiev. That a strange 10-rounder that, because he got dropped twice, so that's 4 points. He had a point deducted. That's 5 points took off him, and still won the fight. What did you make of the scoring on that? It's only a 10-round fight.
Yeah, it was strange. You know, did any of the judges actually give him Felix Cash a 10-8 round? Well,
it should have been 2 10-8s because there were 2 knockdowns. No matter if you're losing the round, if you drop them, it's classed as a 10-8, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the rules. So,
but many 10-8 rounds did Felix Cash have? He didn't drop him.
Didn't drop him at all. So he's 5 points down there already in a 10-round fight. So he would have had to win at least 7-8 rounds, wouldn't he? I didn't see. I don't think he did that. Maybe the right person won the fight. He was a bit more active than the other guy, but them 2 drop knockdowns and the point off that made the score. It was a strange fight. Like, all we'll say it's a strange fight, but the English guy won, so good luck to him. But does he beat Chris Eubank Jr.? Yes or no?
Yes, he does.
What, Felix Cash beats him? Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. I don't agree with that. I think that Eubank runs over him, but that's my opinion. You've got a different one. Okay. Usyk Joshua. Frank came out and said that Anthony Joshua wanted another £5 million. That's why it didn't happen. He's also saying Usyk Joshua does not happen. What's your take on all that, Ken?
I agree with them. I absolutely agree with them. And you know, even you spoke about this with Big Richard months back about the step aside. He wanted
to
step aside.
Yeah. Yeah, we Richard agreed with us, didn't
he? Yeah, and you called it out. He wanted step aside, and it's this whole thing, Russell. I cannot see Anthony Joshua go and fight Usyk. Who's his trainer? He's no trainer now. He's running all around the world, doing these stupid sessions everywhere and doing this and doing that. And I just think there's absolute chaos in that camp. I don't think there's anybody now managing it. And it doesn't look like there's a structure there to go in to the Usyk fight. You know, think about this, Russell. So Eddie Hearn now didn't win the purse bid for Dillian White and Fury.
Yeah.
He's put in this massive offer for the Calano 2-fight Calano deal. At the minute, DAZN are doing their conkers in that Frank had an interview yesterday. Where does he get the money now for Joshua? Will Joshua stay with him? Will he go to a different platform? We have got the whole thing in Kiev at the minute as well with Usyk. I don't see the fight happening.
Right, this is what I see. I see Anthony Joshua following the Canelo blueprint and being like a gun for hire and going on certain platforms, one fight at a time, and seeing what the best offer is and playing them all off against each other. It's like Canelo is playing Eddie Hearn off against Al Heyman, the big 2 dogs at the moment.
Yeah.
Arum and Warren they're coming up strong. They're the force to be reckoned with. I don't know how much longer Bob Arum's got left. They'll probably outlive me. Bricktop will probably outlive me. But I just feel that Joshua's just going to go for money now. Because I don't think he wants to say. I think it's about, look, I'm going to get found out against a lot of these guys in top 10. So let's just get the fights and get the money in the bank. That's what I think. Undisputed's gone now. I don't think it'll ever happen. The WBC is always a stumbling block to the Undisputed because they don't like their belt mixed in with the others, do they? The WBC has always been, everybody knows that. That's always the stumbling block. It's always the belt out there on its own, isn't it? The other ones don't have a problem, do they, working with each other? Them belts are always like 4 belts, isn't there? But the WBC, it just always seems to me that way. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I look at it. I remember the Hopkins-Taylor situation with them belts. They got fragmented, didn't they? And I think this is going the same way. But I don't know, what do you think, Ken?
Russell, I agree with you. What I see happening is I don't see Fury and White happening, okay? No. I don't see that happening at all. There's no chance that I seen the Frank Warren interview yesterday and I took so much out of it. It doesn't happen. I see now, this is what I see. I see on Sky, I see AJ fighting Dillian White 2. That's what I see happening next. And I see Tyson Fury fighting Joe Joyce next, because that whole WBO situation, it's going to be another year and a half, whatever is going to happen with Usyk. Think about it, Russell. If Dillian White doesn't fight Tyson Fury, where is he going to get £1 million purse again? What's the only fight for him to do that'll sell?
Well, is it Joshua, isn't it? That's it. There's only Joshua fight for him, isn't there?
It's Joshua. That's the only fight. And what I can see happening is I'm saying, you know what? This contract, they put an option in. It didn't suit me. Let's get the Joshua fight on. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
Is that what you think? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the, if Dillian White turns down this money, right? He turned it down before. He's going to turn it down now for Fury. Where else is he going to get a purse like that? His last fight, he got 300k for Povetkin. That was
lodged. I mean, Eddie Hearn could have quite easily given him another 300 in cash from tickets if he'd wanted to. That sort of thing goes on, doesn't it, behind the scenes? Yeah. I mean, you heard him talking about how Eddie Hearn manipulated purse bids and this and that and blah blah, squealing about what was on behind the scenes. Because you didn't get because you never got the winning purse bid. I don't know, mate.
Yeah.
Frank Warren's saying that Fury's getting 80% of that. That's lies as well. They just lie, don't they?
But that's what I see happening. I think down the line Sky's going to come into this. And listen, we don't know the relationship now with Hearn and White. Will White go with the zone? Will White go back to Sky?
Yeah.
It's so much uncertainty in the fight. What's to say, Russell, that if the fight does happen, he goes in for 2 rounds and then quits in a stool. Can't be bothered. What's I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the language at the minute, the no language is that, would you want to buy that fight at all? With how White's trying to sell it?
What? White's not trying to sell Fury fight, is he? He's not said out.
Hasn't said a thing. So why would you want to buy that? Why would you want to buy that?
Well, I think they're that shock. They're in shock that I think they're being manipulated by Eddie to say, look, you don't help these with promotion, you've got guaranteed money. Do not help these further. That. And the same thing happened with O'Hara Davis, Josh Taylor. They told O'Hara Davis to go to the McGuigan press conference, do not help these promote this fight. And he didn't. He didn't help Barry McGuigan and Jake McGuigan and Shane and all them lads of Barry's. They had to do it all on their own, Barry McGuigan, but Josh Taylor put him to keep anyway, didn't he? But point I want to make is they gave O'Hara Davis 100 grand and he never helped him out with it. And I think Dylan's going down that route. If it happens.
It's not if it happens.
If it happens. Okay then. Has all the Harrisons, has his head gone, do you think?
The WBF champion in the world.
So the man with superpowers, Black Superman. Said
It's
Superman, didn't he?
I watched the video. I sent you some of it, and I watched it for 20 minutes, and I had to turn it off. It was absolute. He seems to be Aldi Harrison's the David Icke of boxing at the minute.
Do you think that he lost? You know, he said it. Well, Audley said he lost his superpowers, but I don't even remember him having superpowers. Do you?
Well, he said he was going to win the British title within 5 fights, and he was going to knock out Danny Williams. He didn't do that, did he? In 5 fights.
The A4.
You know,
I don't know.
He was talking about fighting for a British title in his first fight. He went and fought that journeyman, Mike Malton. You know, he's on saying about, I don't get what he's saying. He said that, yes, he was on BBC and that meant he couldn't fight against the likes of Danny Williams and for domestic titles who were with Sky. Why did he go with BBC then in the first place? If that was the case, why did he go?
The BBC gave him £1 million to sign with him, and Audley kept the gate on every show from all the tickets, and he paid everybody peanuts to fight and kept everything for himself. And he upset the establishment, so they all went after him at media, didn't they, and ruined him. Every fight he had, they were blocking him, wanting Warren and all the rest of them. They wouldn't let him fight UK guys, so he had to get stiffs in. And look, his problem was inexperience. What he should have done, he should have signed a 3-year deal, gone with somebody for 3 years, learnt his craft, blah, 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 and then gone on his own. But he didn't, did he? He wanted to do it. He wanted all this cake and eat it, and that's why he's ended up on Skid Row. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the original plan with him was he was with Frank Warren quite a lot. You go back at that time in the Sky shows, he was sitting ringside with Frank Warren, and the original plan was Frank Warren had Jordy Kanalaki, who was a WBU champion at the time, heavyweight, and the plan was to match them together, and that was going to be his first title fight. I think he was going to do that. I think the plan was to do that in 5 fights.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, he just stiffed Warren over at the last minute and signed with BBC. So he wasted all that time. He wasted everyone's time. He was talking with Frank Warren, Frank Maloney. So what was he going to expect, Russell?
Yeah.
He didn't have superpowers that time when Michael Spratt put him in the orbit.
Yeah, but you got Michael Spratt at one point though, didn't he? And he only had one arm. To be fair, one arm were knackered, and other arm he put where it's Spratt to kick for European title. Yeah,
that was actually, I think at that stage, that was Eddie's first ever champion.
So he must have got his powers back that night.
Yeah, he must have been eating the spinach or his kryptonite or whatever. But yeah, I think I remember watching that whole run on BBC at the time, and it was just absolutely dreadful. His 15th fight was against that Raquel Harusha, the Dutch guy who was WBF champion, and they were building it as a world title fight at the stage. And come on, Otley.
Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie then. We're going to finish off on. I want to finish off on. 2 seconds. I've got it here somewhere. Frank going on about the BT DAZN thing. It looks like Frank's having a little pop at the DAZN didn't get in with BT in it. Do you think that Frank's mastered the shoulder roll now and that he's coming on strong?
Oh, he's just complete heel Frank Warren at the minute. He's in absolute beast mode. So he is. He like we were speaking 6 months ago about how bad the content and how bad some of the shows were, and we thought it wasn't looking good for Frank. He's just Frank's from the street, so he's experienced. He's streetways. He's really streetways. It's he's got Zach Parker now. He's calling out Eubank. I think Zach.
You think that's a good fight, Ken?
Yeah, I think he beats him. I think Zach Parker beats him.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
right.
he asked the question last night, was funny. He said that I want to ask Eddie Hearn how many subscribers DAZN has in the UK.
I'm coming to that now. Do you feel that Eddie Hearn's gone to DAZN because he'll do a lot of money over a short period of time, and he's found a niche to overpay people? Because if he's overpaying somebody, he's getting his cut as well, and so his cut's going to be overpaid. Do you feel that he got greedy, and do you feel that DAZN have reined him in a bit now, and maybe they might not be as quite happy with Eddie Hearn as what they wanted to be? Do you think that they're not where they're at? Do you think they wanted to be a bit further down the line, doing better than where they are now with Eddie? Because he's coming up for 4 years, isn't it? Or is it 3 years or something? 3-4 years?
It was that whole thing saturated the market.
Yeah,
saturated the market, and
yeah.
I think now at the time, and Sky, the British fighters didn't want to fight in Britain because the market was so big in America because of Eddie.
We're in now, though, is it?
No, definitely not. And you look at it, that the landscape is, like we all know that the landscape in boxing changes day by day. And at the minute, you know, who would you say is in a better position right now, Russell?
I'd say Frank Warren, because he's got Joe Joyce mandatory, WBO, DeBar mandatory WBA, and he's in talks with Don King about doing the Trevor Bryan fight. He's got Joshua. Is in a contract with Usyk to fight again. He'll lose that Joshua. Then he's out of game. He's in a tight spot. Then he might not get another world title shot for a while. And he's got Fury as the champion, hasn't he? Who's the WBC, Laniel and Ring Magazine and all that. So as far as I'm concerned, heavyweight division is what makes boxing. He's at the top of the tree in Frank Warren, and all the chess pieces are in position. It's like Eddie Hearns. On the chessboard, he's got a couple of pawns, a castle, a bishop, and his king. And that's it. Frank's got all his pieces. He's lost a few pawns and maybe lost a bishop, but he's got all his knights, and he looks like he's coming on strong, doesn't it? That's what I think. They're just looking for checkmate now, aren't they? They've got him on rack, haven't they? They've put all the pieces into position, haven't they? Did you like that analogy?
Loved it, Russell. Loved it.
Oh.
He even last night, he even said that he called out Eubank Jr., the Zach Parker thing.
Yeah.
And he even said that Zach Parker would beat Billy Joe Saunders. You don't normally hear Frank talking like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if Zach Parker. Zach Parker, yeah, I'm going to say, I thought you were going to say Zach Miller. That's Dennis's fighter. Zach Parker, in my opinion, don't beat Eubank. I don't think he beats him, but I think it's a good fight. But I don't think Eubank will take it because he's working with Boxer and Wasserman. So I don't think they'll take that. I think they'll want to just have another knockover because Eubank's becoming a bit of a gimmick in him, really. He's not going for them big fights, is he?
Triple G hasn't fought in over 2 years now.
He's 49, isn't
he? Yeah, and he can't move his head. Those last two fights, I thought one of them he didn't win. I thought the Seth Rollins fight, he couldn't. I've never seen him get hit as much. He got that whole thing. He didn't want to give his coach that extra bit of a percentage because he had that big signing on block with the zone. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's the time's right. If you're going to make the Triple G fight, make it now. But next gen, they're talking about next gen. He's 32 now. What's he talking about? It's time to get a move on. It's time to actually get a world title fight.
Yeah. Okay, Callum Smith, Boatsi. Do you think? Would you like to see that fight? Do you think it happens?
To be honest with you, Russell, I don't like Joshua Buatsi. I'm bored of him. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of all the documentaries about him being this superstar and being this humble fighter and being this skilled. I just want to see him get a proper title fight, being a proper fight. I don't think Callum Smith will entertain that at all.
Yeah.
Joshua Buatsi isn't a world level fighter.
No, I agree.
He's not a world champion. I don't see. Listen, this whole thing, the light heavyweight division at the minute, it's probably one of the best divisions in the world of boxing. Yeah. But it's so many different TV companies, and I don't think any of them are gonna. I think it's more likely that you've got Bob Arum, you've got Frank, we've got Joe Smith Jr. with Bob Arum, we've got Frank Warren, we've got Calm Johnson, and we've got Lyndon Arthur, we've got Anthony Yard. You've got all those guys. I could see them more likely fighting each other than the Matchroom guys.
Yeah, you're probably right, mate. You're probably right. That's about it, Ken. Where are the questions? I'm going to save some of them other ones for Julian. I don't want to be repeating myself. And obviously, I've got Max coming on today. I saw him last night. He came. He come and met me up at Wickersley last night on his way back from Stansted. So Max is going to come on today and
rinse people.
He's going to bask in his glory. Innit? Look, good luck to Max. I like Max. I give him loads of stick because every time a car pulled up outside my house, I used to go when I was laid up. Oh, Max again. But he came to see me when I wasn't very well, and he was more than benevolent with me, and he's been all right. So far, he's stood on. Everything he said he's been going to do while he's been in my company the last 2 years, he has done. He's done everything he said he was going to do. And I take my hat off to people like that, because you get a lot of shit chatters, don't you? And you meet a lot of people that chat shit. Yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. They never do it, just shit chatters. I don't have time for people like that. I drop them like stones. So, well done to Max. I'm going to let him have his moment today. I might rinse him a little bit, you know, just to bring him down to earth, Ken. A bit like Brian Clough used to rinse Forest players, didn't he? Just to put him in the place. I might need to just rinse Max today, but we'll let him have his moment. He's done well. He might never fight again. He might fight again and get put on slab. He might fight again, break his hands. He might get knocked out. He might go 10-0. We don't know, but Max as a character, he's an interesting story, and you know, let's hope he gets home safe.
You know, he gets a lot of stick and all, but listen, he got his license. He went out there and he got in the ring.
He's got a bird now, you know. He's got a bird now. She's nearly moved in. She's nearly moved in.
And Julian advising him as well. What more could he want?
Let's hope that this one doesn't take off like other one did.
He'll be here. He'll be rinsing you later on for saying that.
Nah, he can rinse me all he wants. Hey, listen, from my some of my episodes, relationship. Fucking hell, I'm nobody to give advice out. But hope you're well, Ken. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to go downstairs now, take my camera downstairs. I might just do it up here. I might do Dennis's one sat on in gym on Saturday. I don't know, but I'm going to have to do the Dennis one this morning. I'm going to do. I've got a few things I'm going to go over with the Gad. I might even do a proper just Gad video on my own and set about him. I'm in a rinsing mood. I think I'm going to have to set about Dennis's show. I can't not let him off the hook for that, what he's just served up. And I think I'm going to do a Gad video. He's going to copy it. Max is going to be on it today. He might copy it a little bit if he starts talking about British titles and stuff. I'll have to just slap him down. And Max, get back in your cage. But yeah, so it's all going off today in Porky's Corner in Rotherham. So,
you could probably get Max a WBF Intercontinental silver title.
Dennis could him. Did I tell you that story about Dennis where they were putting Josh Whale on 2020? Josh Whale fighting on a yacht in Gibraltar for WBF. I said to Mick Whale, I says, what? Like, what? What fucking planet are they on? Going having to go to Gibraltar 4 times to make that fight. Well, it didn't happen, did it? Well, that's what you get in boxing. Shit talkers. So I'm going to move on today. I'm going to ring my mate, get me to get a nice thumbnail with Dennis on, a roasted Dennis. Get Dennis's head on a roast chicken. But yeah, I'm going to have to roast Dennis today, the guard, and Max. That's all to come. Julian tomorrow. You're on tonight. So it's all good, isn't it, Ken?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Stuff. We're plodding forward Monday mornings. Okie dokie. Peace out, Ken.
Care.
Keep on trucking. Keep sporting boxing. Don't have nightmares. Peace out. Well, that was Kent. The hardcore's hardcore. All the way from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Did you know they made the Titanic in Belfast? One of the biggest, most famous shipping yards in the world. Watched a program about that the other night. Looks a very, very nice area. Okie dokie then. Big shout out to Ellen from Ireland. Hope you're well, Ellen. Big shout out to Frank Smith in Bury. How are you doing, Frank? Hope you're well. That's about it, really. Better get this Dennis rinse done before the big fella turns up here. Okie dokie. Have a nice Monday. Peace out. Big shout out to Nick in Sheffield. Hope you're well, mate. Nice to see you the other day. Peace out.